All right. Good morning, everybody. What can I say? Wow. You know, in a week where some people were focusing on things that really had no relevance or meant nothing in the grand scheme of things towards this event, towards the significance of this fight, the greatness of this fight, the greatness of both of these two athletes, right? There were some people who were focused on other things that, as I said, were irrelevant in the grand scheme of things in regards to this event. Both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford really showed to the boxing public, the boxing media, the boxing fans, what this sport is really all about when it's performed at its highest level. So at the end of the day, you can park all that other BS and bullshit to the side, and what really matters is the fight and the fighters and the greatness of what we just witnessed last night. And the weeks leading up to this fight, we kept talking about the questions that were being asked about both fighters, right? And I said more of the questions were being asked about Terence Crawford, right? I said more of the questions were being asked about Terence Crawford, and he answered every single question that was asked. Can he take the punch? Can he hit hard enough to get Canelo Alvarez's attention? And would he be able to maintain his work rate, the speed at the higher weight? And every single question that was asked of him was answered. So now, when we continue to ask even more questions about where Terence Crawford is placed in history based off of what he accomplished last night, right? He's going to be in the conversation of a lot of great discussions, and he deserves to be in that conversation. He's definitely cemented his place in history. He's definitely cemented his legacy, and there's not much more he can do, right? There's not much more he can do to prove people wrong. I think he did it all last night. What he did last night, I think, puts an end to all the doubters. I don't think the guy can be doubted any longer. So at the end of the day, my hat goes off to Canelo Alvarez, the best he could. He was a great ambassador for the sport of boxing, and he still is a great ambassador for the sport of boxing. Yes, I just heard this too. I want to send my condolences to Ricky Hatton's family. I I'm really saddened to hear the news. I just found this out that Ricky Hatton passed away. So that's awful, right? And yeah, the Inoue fight is on right now. So I'm just gonna make this short and sweet because we're gonna pop back on. We're gonna pop back on later today, obviously 6 p.m. Eastern time, and further discuss this fight. Further discuss this fight later at the Ringside Reporter podcast. But yeah, more questions were asked about Crawford, and he answered them. And this fight did play out a lot the way I believed it would. I thought Crawford would control the distance, control the range. And, when you look at the criteria of scoring a fight, one area that gets mentioned all the time that's really never fully explained and no one could really articulate what it is, and that's ring generalship. Well, I think that was the biggest element of what Terence Crawford proved last night. Terence Crawford exemplified what ring generalship is because every tool that was in his toolbox that was at his disposal, that was available to him, he displayed it last night. He boxed from the outside. As the fight wore on, he stepped to Canelo Alvarez as I said he would. Once Canelo Alvarez was getting frustrated, once he started slowing down, I did predict that Crawford would go in and take some chances. And Terence Crawford even did something that I didn't expect. He stood in there a little bit longer in the pocket and exchanged even a bit more in the pocket. So Terence Crawford definitely showed us what true greatness is last night. And I think now we really have to give him full credit and acknowledge him as one of the greats of our generation, right? So I just wanted to come on here real quick and acknowledge Terence Crawford and what he did last night. And I also want to give Canelo Alvarez credit for what he's done in the sport of boxing, because without him, this fight would not have been as great as it was. It would not have been as significant as it was. So it takes two to tango. One person can't make a great fight. And because of what Canelo Alvarez has accomplished, who he is as a fighter, I think that obviously what he brought to the table added to the greatness of this fight. So I just wanted to come on here real quick and say that. And Ricky Hatton, may he rest in peace. Once again, condolences to his family. Thank you, Terence Crawford. Thank you, Canelo Alvarez, for showing us what boxing is at its highest level, what boxing is at its greatest, at its best, and with potentially tens of millions of people watching last night on Netflix, or maybe even more than that, we could not have asked for a better script to have been played out in front of our very eyes. So I just want to say congratulations to both fighters. Congratulations to Terence Bud Crawford, because he really can't be doubted anymore. He just cemented himself in history. And he just put the biggest stamp on his legacy that he could possibly put. So I'm gonna jump off right now because I did forget about the Inoue fight. So I'm gonna go watch that, and we'll obviously talk about this fight and that fight later today. So shout out to everybody who watched the fight. Shout out to, again, everyone who put this event together. This was a win for everyone involved. So yeah, I think Bud will vacate these titles one way, regardless of what he chooses to do. Bud will vacate these titles. I do think Canelo will fight on because he does have that contract, right? And I think those titles become vacant, and you'll probably see Canelo fight for one of those vacant titles because there's still fights to be made. I think the fight with Shiraz, the fight with Chris Eubank Jr., if he were to beat Conor Benn, I think that those fights are still there for Canelo. And I'd like to see Terence Crawford step away, but if he does continue, he'll probably go back down. He'll probably go down to 160. I don't even think he'll go all the way back down to 154. And maybe he may try to win a title in a 6 weight class. But I just want to jump on, make this short and sweet. And again, everyone, we'll catch up later. Stay safe. Have a great day. And yeah, great night of boxing last night. History was made, and I couldn't be more happier for Terence Crawford. All right, peace out, everybody. Take care. Have a great day.